All right, now let's take a look at some sports. Here's Ayotunde Balogun.
Many thanks, Ijoma. A former chairman of the defunct Nigeria Football Association, Mr. Kojo Williams, sees no big deal in the Super Eagles qualification for next year's FIFA World Cup in Russia. Mr. Williams says what should be the focus for the senior national team now is how to improve on the previous record set at every World Cup event.
Nigeria is supposed to be one of the footballing powerhouse of Africa, and at any given World Cup we should be there. This team we have is a new team. What I propose is basically going to the World Cup, having the first experience, and then going in the next 4 years again. So if we could go in and do well and go as far as the quarterfinals, good. And then in the next 4 years, we can go as far as the semi-finals, finals. That's the way we should work it out. And when you look at the coach, the technical crew in the last 8 months to 9 months, building a new team, you look at the transformation, it's been fantastic.
Former EPL champions Leicester City have sacked manager Craig Shakespeare after 4 months with the Foxes. The Foxes have won just once in 8 Premier League games this season, and the club have decided to part ways with Shakespeare less than 24 hours after a 1-1 draw with West Bromwich Albion on Monday night. The 53-year-old is understood to have been told of the decision in a meeting after taking charge of a friendly against Nottingham Forest earlier today. Michael Appleton will take temporary charge of the club for Saturday's Premier League trip to Swansea, assisted by first-team coaches Mike Stowell and Adam Sadler. In the UEFA Champions League this evening, Liverpool recorded their biggest win in almost 10 years as they thrashed Maribor 7-0 to go top of Group E. Spartak Moscow beat Spanish side Sevilla 5-1 in another Group D clash. In Group F, Manchester City beat Italian side Napoli 2-1. Feyenoord lost 1-2 at home to Shakhtar Donetsk. German side Leipzig beat Porto 3-2. Apoel and Borussia Dortmund settled for a 1-1 draw. Tottenham forced the reigning champions Real Madrid to a 1-1 draw at the Bernabeu. Man United manager Jose Mourinho expects to match former manager Alex Ferguson and continue his career until he is 70, although he insists he will not be at Old Trafford that long. Ferguson ended his managerial career aged 71 after 26 years in charge of United, while Arsenal boss Arsene Wenger is the current longest-serving manager in English football, having taken over the North London club in 1996. Mourinho, however, says emulating such longevity with one club is now impossible. Tianjin Open champion Maria Sharapova earlier suffered a shock defeat to Slovakia's Magdalena Rybarikova in the Kremlin Cup in the first match in Russia since returning from a doping ban this year. The 5-time Grand Slam champion looked tired and committed several unforced errors in the 7-6, 6-4 defeat. The former world #1 first appearance at her home WTA event since 2007 came 2 days after she won her first WTA title in more than 2 years, and that's the Tianjin Open. And that's a wrap on sports news. Ijoma will be back with the rest of the news.
The Somalia President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo has declared 3 days of national mourning for victims of the deadly blast that happened in the capital Mogadishu on Saturday. He's also been calling for donations of blood and funds. Somalia does not have a blood bank, which has been hampering some of the aid efforts of the international humanitarian assistance. Meanwhile, the country boasts of the presence of a 22,000-strong African Union force to help the government recapture territory from Al-Shabaab, whose fighters are active in much of southern Somalia. And the U.S.-backed alliance of Syrian fighters has taken control of the ISIS headquarters Raqqa following months of fighting. The militants had been known for implementing an extreme interpretation of the Islamic law and using beheadings, crucifixions and torture to terrorize residents who opposed its rule. The spokesperson for the Syrian Democratic Forces says clearing operations are now underway to uncover any jihadist sleeper cells and remove landmines. UN crime investigators say there's been a staggering loss of civilian life in the city, reporting that at least 3,250 people had been killed in the past 5 months. Meanwhile, the Iraqi government forces say they've taken control of the two largest oil fields near the disputed city of Kirkuk after Kurdish forces left the area. The takeover of the city began on Monday with key military bases and other oil fields, as well as the governor's office. They pulled down the Kurdish flag, which had been flying alongside the Iraqi national flag.
Iraqi government forces have taken control of the two largest oil fields near the disputed city of Kirkuk. The troops have taken over sites, including Kirkuk city, in the wake of a Kurdish referendum on independence declared illegitimate by the central government. The operation was ordered by Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi, who said in a statement that the operation in Kirkuk was necessary to protect the unity of the country, which was in danger of partition because of the referendum. Iraqi troops are also preparing to take control of the Kanakin area, where a small oil field is located. Kirkuk is an oil-rich province outside of the official Kurdistan region claimed by both the Kurds and the central government. It is thought to have a Kurdish majority, but its provincial capital also has large Arab and Turkmen populations. Kurdish Peshmerga forces took control of much of the province in 2014 when Islamic State militants swept across northern Iraq and the Iraqi army collapsed. The United States has said it is very concerned by reports of violence around Kirkuk and calls for calm.
And the main news again. The Federal High Court in Abuja today ordered Senator Naya Abaribe and two other sureties to produce IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu or forfeit their 100 million naira bail bond. Also today, the Senate asked for the appointment of a separate minister for the power sector to ensure quick resolution of electricity supply challenges in the country. And U.S.-backed Syrian forces today took control of the city declared by Islamic State as capital of its caliphate. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm Ijoma Hunyato. You have a good night.